the danger of being in an endless educational content loop. Because a lot of people experience this now, right? There's so much content that is about self-improvement. I think the conversation usually happens about self-improvement content.
At a certain point, you need to stop and realize, okay, I learned enough to now use the new learnings to implement them actually. And that's what we often don't do, because while we learn more and more, we realize there's so much more to learn, and actually I don't know too much yet. They're not fully aligned with your values and beliefs, and they're just looking for a job where they can make money. But what we want to have is we want to have people working with us who see the vision, who see the future, like see what we see. Because then and then only you can really build like really strong forces where it's really hard to break the chain. You can do that by yourself. You just need to figure out what you want. And if you know what you want, you're going to find the right things you're going to looking for. But you need to start as well, like getting rid of all the...
So my question was, or the topic that we talked about was the danger of being in an endless educational content loop. Because a lot of people experience this now, right? There's so much content that is about self-improvement. I think the conversation usually happens about self-improvement content, actually. People consume...
Self-development journey.
Yeah. They consume endless content about this, but they never actually take action or consume it in a way where they have enough notes or anything that gives them the opportunity to actually benefit from that knowledge. So they're just mindlessly consuming, and it feels productive to them, but it really is not. Or it might be, if you just consume enough, it might still have an effect, but it's definitely not effective.
Right.
So yeah, you mentioned you had days in the past at some point where you also just watched a lot of podcasts and YouTube.
Yeah, well, it was not a problem, to be honest, but I felt it along the way that sometimes you get in this loop, as you said it, like for studying a lot, like podcasts, YouTube, reading books or listening to audiobooks and stuff. And you need to, at a certain point, you need to stop and realize, okay, I learned enough to now use the new learnings to implement them actually. And that's what we often don't do, because while we learn more and more, we realize there's so much more to learn, and actually I don't know too much yet. But still, you actually know a lot already that you didn't use for your benefit. And there we come to structures again. Then you need to learn. If you want to learn more, if you want to grow more, you need to learn how to organize your way of self-education to make sure that you focus on the things you want to study. Like it's the same thing, even friends, they send you podcast to listen to, they send you book to listen to watch, not book to watch, a book to read, and or whatsoever. And at the end, you always need to figure out, is that the current phase I'm in? Maybe that book teaches you something which is really important and will be really valuable to you, but not in this certain moment. So what I do usually is I start to study more, like listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos or something like that, based on the fact if I feel like a little bit stuck somewhere, because I cannot make like the final decision by being like 100% confident about it. So I think about like, okay, what is the next thing I do not actually know about, which I need to learn to actually make the right decision for whatever question is in my mind. And then I look for it. And that's the funny thing, for example, is like when I started, I do say a lot of, it's like when I started in 2019, I didn't actually know what I'm going to do and what my title, my position, my whatsoever is going to be. Because people told me, do Amazon or do this, because I already built the Amazon business. So people told me, just make a course about Amazon business. But that was for me like, it's not going to help me to grow when I'm like sticking in a category with where I'm already in for so many years, and I'm just not interested to do it over and over again. It's not exciting me anymore. You know, it's not fun anymore. it's getting more complicated as well. As like now you need to, how to say, like if you want to launch a new product now on Amazon, you need to invest a lot of money to actually be seen. And so it makes it quite unprofitable in my opinion. It's just not worth the effort in the long term, because if we look at the how to say, the like how much money Amazon keeps and how much money you as a seller can keep, it's like Amazon takes more and more from you. They take 18% on the sales. Then they also kind of force you to do marketing, because if you don't do marketing, your listing has no chance to actually be sold. It's like, it's just not happening. Unless this product is like from 2010, 2012 or whatsoever, like a long-term product, still you're going to do sales, but you're going to see like a strong decrease in your sales, just based on the fact that other people who are willing to pay like 20, 30, 40% of marketing fees will just be seen by more people, and by that generate more sales. So it's not a quality game, it's a money game. It's like, where can we make more money? And this is what I don't like about it, to be honest. It's like, it's less about, okay, what is the best product we have to show? It's more about, how do we make enough money? You know, like what's the maximum we can get if we take in consideration everything. But that's how corporate enterprises work, right? So, wait, but where have I been before?
The topic was watching educational content and finding yourself in a loop, or you specifically consuming content to answer questions.
Right.
And I guess that makes sort of sense. I get, for me, my education content has been in creating quite a bit, right? And since I consumed a lot as well, like so many different creators, so many different point of views, creators that are doing traveling, some of them are super corporate, some of them doing products or whatever it is. And the more I watched, at some point, I felt like, okay, I'm going into this video and it's 10 minutes long. I know 9 minutes of this 100%, but there might be this last minute or those 30 seconds where somebody that has a lot of experience will share something that brings value that still makes it worth for me to watch 100 minutes.
No, you're just looking for the nuggets.
Yeah, but they're super tough spot, and at some point it's hard to justify watching a piece of content.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard. Like for me, for example, that is what I wanted to say actually. I didn't know like what this is going to be, like what's my final destination in a certain way, and I do not know till today, because there's no final destination. It's a direction, it's values which basically decide like where to go, and you have a vision which you aim for. And it took me 3 years to to YouTube for leadership videos. You'd imagine, like I never put it like the word leadership never came into my mind to actually look for it for 3 years in the process. 2019, 20, 21.
Yeah.
So it was 22, I think, a few months ago, that I first started to now understand, like, actually, I need to learn how to be a leader. So it's like how to really build a team, like team building, like all those things. They just came like this year.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of process before to actually like get to the point where then you actually need to answer those questions. So because you do not need to have a team or like be worried about, oh, I need a team, I need 5 people, 10 people because I don't have enough time. You first need to realize you need to be able to organize yourself. Means if you cannot organize yourself, your own tasks for yourself to make happen what you believe you can do in the time available to you, how should you be able to manage the time of other people which are supposed to do the things you guide them to do? It's not possible.
No.
But many people trying, as I believe, because I listened to a few podcasts, and many people, they said that they started building a team and they built it too quick, and then they were overwhelmed, and then they thought that the team members is the problem and that they are too stupid to find the right people and stuff. But at the end, they realize it's not It's not about the people you find. It's about you being able to manage them. And sure, there are most likely also people you might hire, and it's not your fault that they don't perform because that's their attitude.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to still do the steps before to being aware enough to then being able to say like, okay, here it's just we need to optimize our structures, our workflows to make it even more clear. So because Susan or whoever's job that is, she is really ambitious and she wants to do and she's always willing to grow, but it's there she gets stuck. So we need to help her. Or this one is Peter, and Peter just he tries to log hours where he's actually not working. Yeah. He's have an activity rate in the online score of like 27, and always again and again finding some excuses about why the activity rate is so small. Till at a certain point you need to decide to like, sorry, like you're not aligned with our values, which in our case would be respect, honesty, and communication. Because if you then saying stuff like, for example, it's funny. Like, the activity score is so small because I did research. Like, if you do research, like you're like damn clicking, scrolling all the time on the screen, copy, paste stuff, and organizing things. It's like your activity rate should be like super high.
Makes sense to me.
It doesn't make sense like in another way, right? So, but if you get started in this kind of moment, where you build a team, you will always ask this question to yourself: is it you, is it your structures, or is it your team member? So before you start a team, you actually should make sure that you're self-confident enough to know that it's not you, or to being able to actually realizing that it's you if it is really you, to build that how to say, like to get to know yourself on a level where you actually realize if you're right or wrong. So you do not really then hesitate too much to make a decision towards other people. And because you still align with your values, respect, honesty, communication, you will also do it in a respectful way. And maybe even you let go people where you maybe misjudge them. Could happen. But you do it in a respectful way, telling them that those are your feelings, those are your emotions, this is why you need to take that decision. And if you assault them for something wrong, then you are sorry for it, but it's just a decision you take, So you can always you can even let people go with respect. And if you keep people, you should manage them with respect too. But you need to be able to really filter out who doesn't deserve you hiring that person for a longer time, because they're not fully aligned with your values and beliefs, and they're just looking for a job where they can make money. But what we want to have is we want to have people working with us who see the vision, who see the future, like see what we see. Because then and then only you can really build like really strong forces where it's really hard to break the chain. And that builds trust builds momentum, and momentum builds future. Success.
Whatever you choose.
Whatever.
It's actually interesting. I made this comparison before when I was competing in World of Warcraft in the past.
What?
And I thought about why, or I knew that competing in WoW took at least one or multiple leaders that are performing super well on a super high level. Yes. And I can actually, in this conversation, there's an interesting point that you made in terms of, okay, you need to make sure that you sort a lot of the stuff for yourself first before you can properly lead other people.
Yes.
And in that specific situation, to just keep it super simple, you usually play with 24 other people, right? So it's super busy. You're pressing a button every second. Every person is pressing a button every second. And let's say every 16 or 17 seconds, you need to react to something that happens.
Yeah.
And usually the leader would actually take the time to really track what's happening. So he sees, okay, this is happening in 17 seconds. Okay, Josh, Sandra, and Mike, this is happening in 15. You ready? You need to do this. Remember, X, Y, Z. But but he's also pressing all of his other stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
So you could kind of compare to like daily tasks.
Yeah.
So if he has everything in place that allows him to perform at a high level without really thinking about it because he has structure.
Yeah. Also, you have workflows which they kick in if you need it.
And those buttons that you have to press, those have different priorities. So you actually still need to watch them. You still need to monitor your tasks. But in the end, this is actually kind of an interesting visual example. You had full freedom of building your UI as well. So where your 15-second track timers happen, you had full customization about everything. So if you think about it, the people that had the best UI, the most sorted way of looking at all the information in the most compact way, those were the ones that had the extra time or capabilities to actually be leaders in the end.
And what is that? They have the overview.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's why I thought World of Warcraft and building those UIs, and even, let's say, Karen or whoever is stuck and she doesn't know where to start, then you can go into those conversations and kind of pinpoint or maybe help them improve on whatever it is. So yeah, and then obviously you have difficult conversations about excuses or where you love the falling, and from there being a leader and communicating as a whole other meaning. But yeah, it's a very interesting visual comparison to having structure, being able to have daily tasks done faster than everybody else and kind of mindlessly almost, which gives you more brain capacity.
You'd imagine here, the house is clean, huh? And we don't have a cleaning service, only once a week. And it's okay. Sure. And we have good food. And we can work out if we are not sick. Yeah. And we have a nice living room. We have a nice workstation. Okay, I have a nice workstation.
Some room for improvement.
Yeah, and structures are important.
I actually still think something like World of Warcraft to that capacity where you have to compete with people and you have to have good conversations. There's accountability when we fail. There's statistics. There's data when we fail, and people will see.
Yeah.
So there's so many interesting factors in how you can learn how to self-improve, how to work as a team. It's the opposite of school, right? They just whole, don't copy your universe.
Yeah. Don't do anything. Be silent now.
Yeah. It's like,
Josh, you're too stupid. Why you don't learn physics?
Because I don't like physics. I want to become a sportsman.
I would actually want to have an endless grindy World of Warcraft would be the most valuable school subject if you don't include anything else in terms of how to structure yourself. That is probably more.
It's so important. But the thing is, what we expect, like as soon as you have a system in place, it's really hard to replace it or to change it. We see it like, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Germany, if you want to get something done by the government, and it always involves paper, and it always takes ages. So that's like under the line, it takes ages and it involves paper. Like you cannot do it online. It's just not possible. And what did I want to say? In Germany, papers. Yeah. And so systems develop like really, how to say it? It's really hard to change them. And the school system, why should they change it as long they feel it works? And at what point it doesn't work anymore? As the point where like most people are unsatisfied with their job and they want to do something else. Then it doesn't work anymore. So now they would be needed to adjust it. But the way they could adjust it would not solve their problem. Because that would mean they need to adjust the system. But they don't want to adjust the system. Because why should they? You would lose a lot of I don't know how to explain that, to be honest.
Essential people in the system that make it run a little bit.
it's like it runs on, in my opinion, it runs on the wrong values. It's like it's an education system that is not meant to like unlock your potential. It's meant to make sure that you fit in a specific system which somebody believes that your workforce is needed there and should be implemented. This is like it's the old school. It's like it's gone. It's off. Now it's time to really find ways to educate people on a level where they can really like focus on what they want to do and then dig deeper in exactly those areas. So it's kind of like the connection with YouTube and stuff. You can do that by yourself. You just need to figure out what you want. And if you know what you want, you're going to find the right things you're going to looking for. But you need to start as well, like getting rid of all the distractions, getting rid of like scrolling on Instagram for ages because you don't know what to do, because you don't have a purpose, you don't have like passion, you have nothing to fulfill in your life. So you're like, you get stuck here because you're not losing anything. Because if you don't do that, you might just sit down and you think, no, that would be boring and nothing could happen there. But maybe you try. Maybe just try, like get rid of all those distractions and just like really think, what do you want from life? Just take a week or longer or whatsoever, just every day till you got it for yourself, that you realize, okay, this is what I want. And then you start thinking about how do I get that? And you use like reverse engineering. So you basically go like, okay, this is where I want to go. This is where I am. Where I am, I know, because this is my past and I reflected on that. So how do I get here? And there are probably different ways to get there. And the thing you need to decide for yourself is, which are the things you care about? So that's again like, who am I? Like, what is important for me? So going here is just like the direction. Like this is your big goal, like your big vision. And that vision can be so huge, you do not even have to know like how to do it. And then it's just about the journey. The journey is like, it's the main part. So we should focus on the main part because everything else is just a dot. The dot here and the dot there. Everything else, but the way in between is like infinite. So we should really focus on that. And to make this journey like the most enjoyable for us, we need to know what's important for us. Like we need to define our standards. We need to know like, what do we care about? What are our values? What can we like tolerate? What are the things we cannot tolerate? So basically we define our standards and we say, okay, this is what I want from life. And those are the things I'm willing to do to get there. And those are the things, no way I wouldn't do that. Okay? Like in a certain way. It's all kind of like guided then by values. Like if it's against this value, I'm not going to do it. If it's this one, I'm gonna work hard, okay, but only like for 2 years, maybe like 16 hours a day or whatsoever, so that you set like some expectations for yourself. You can do that. And where do I want to go? With the expectation, I'm actually not sure. Let's scroll back.
It was about the things that you need to succeed, the system, being a system where you are not taught to be self-efficient, to learn to enable yourself.
And now we need to teach people, and they need to know we have the way with the values. Yeah. And you need to define for yourself, like, what are your values? What are the things you want from life? And what are you willing to do for it? So those are the two questions, basically. What are you willing to do? And what do you want? And this is kind of like your border of what you can do. So now this way here, it's not infinite anymore. It's narrowed down to a specific amount. And within this, you can now basically do whatever you feel is the right thing to do. And this is your best path, the path you can enjoy the most, because it's aligned with what you want, and it's aligned with what you it's aligned with what you want, and it's aligned with, what was the other thing? sometimes.
What you want, and
I said it before. Huh?
you did.
No. It's your values and what you're willing to do. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably have trouble answering those questions in the first place because it's kind of like we think about friends that started going to uni. A lot of times the statement is made, "Oh, I actually had to learn how to learn."
Oh yeah.
Like you don't have the tools to even imagine where you could go and then where to start. And obviously there's so much peer involved as well, and society and pressure. It's very tough to answer those questions for most people. Like even in a privileged situation, I'm not sure if I can completely answer those questions.
Most people cannot.
But I don't think it's necessary as long as you can still narrow down your possible path or use those comparisons. If you have your core values aligned, and just work on whatever's fun to you or beneficial to you, and then you will still progress in life. You either like other people, or you will get to some level of success or joy, whatever.
Your values is the first thing always. You need to always stick to your values because otherwise there's no clear path.
Yeah. Those are so intuitive. I don't need to think about those.
But I tell you, to be honest, to really define 3 values for yourself, which you just always know you stick to them, gives it a better frame, because it doesn't give you the space of no, this is actually, you know what I mean? It's small details, and it doesn't mean that it makes like a big difference in your case, like specifically, but it always makes a difference. Sometimes more and sometimes less.
Yeah, right.
Because clarity at the end. If you have the clarity, it's more easy to follow.
I just don't see myself having to question decisions and make they every. I have to question values or but yeah, for me it's just very intuitive in terms of how I operate.
Yeah.
In that sense. But you could name those, or you could name the behavior or narrow it down to more in the actual terms. Like they all align with each other to some extent. But you could replace I don't know. There's multiple ways of saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's why you need to narrow it down. Like for me, it's really I told you so many times.
From the walls.
Yeah, it's 3 values. But it's 3 core values, and then with that there's other values involved, which are basically our result out of it. But you only need those 3.
No.
If you stick to them, it's just going to give you the path, you know.
No.
And every additional value, if you are able then to also stick to it, sure, you can add on.
No.
You can then say like, okay, now I'll focus on more. But if you just want to make sure you go in the right direction, a direction that serves you,
No.
those 3 are enough. And everything else is going to be then the bonus on the top when you already reached your level of happiness.
Sure. Yeah. I think for me it's just the bigger picture, or kind of the big privilege, because the people around me are very like-minded and have very similar values.
Right.
So I just rarely ever get in spots where I have to question if there's another value that it needs to be introduced or that I will not execute enough.
Right.
So I guess, but this is probably super rare, because I am quite privileged in that sense, or now at least.
Yeah.
Hasn't always put so. If you have people that know the civil spade, you might get dragged into the spot where you have to make questionable decisions, or like, okay,
You need to have your values in place, because otherwise you're like, yeah, but he is my friend.
yeah, I don't get into those spots.
Yeah, me neither, but it's not only about us.
Yeah, sure. And it's about the other people, but I with other people because my circle is so small
Yeah.
and so consistent, it just does not help. as happened in the news.
I think it still happens too often.
Life in general, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm sure it will happen more often as yes, progressing in business. You will also just find some proper sharks who are out there for blood kind of thing,
Right.
and they will definitely not see like sharks when you meet them. They might turn out as such, and I guess then having those values in places when sure,
Yeah,
I guess I can see this.
exactly. Never try, never know.